David, you got a lot going on your plate today.
We do. I mean, aside from the casinos, as you mentioned, hotels that we cover, and other global leisure, experiential leisure is what we cover.
So talk to me a little bit about what's happening with the casinos. You've got Refinitiv and S&P 500 that have actually warned that the risk of coronavirus puts into question the creditworthiness of casinos like Wynn Resorts and MGM and Melco.
Yeah, they have to make those warnings, but when you sit down and look at the numbers, they are both very well capitalized. Even, as you pointed out, the $2.5 million a day, when we look at the balance sheets, particularly of Las Vegas Sands, right, who's about 1x leverage, they're positioned financially to withstand what we expect will be confined to just the first quarter.
Are you worried about putting an expectation on the limit to first quarter since the outbreak continues and now we're seeing the impact spreading in Singapore and other places?
Look, as a stock picker, we worry every day.
Yeah.
There's always something to worry about. And yes, we certainly do. I think the information that we've read, the experience that we've had with SARS in the past, and the expectation that this will be contained and confined, while tragic, will be confined to the first quarter.
And how much of an impact do you think there is? Is it 65%?
We actually took our first quarter numbers down about 65%, about 2/3 across the board for MGM, LVS, and Wynn, specifically in Macau.
All right, we heard from Wynn, and we got a lot more detail from MGM Resorts from their earnings call this week that Far East Baccarat had declined. MGM said more than $100 million year over year in 2019. And now we have this ban on China visitors, essentially, anybody who's been to China. What does that do in Las Vegas?
Look, the Baccarat business in Las Vegas has been in secular decline for a number of years. It's just not been a focus of theirs. It's been brought to bear and brought to the forefront by the coronavirus. But, we've seen Baccarat numbers down in Las Vegas year over year for about 3 years now.
I want to ask you about another Las Vegas impact, because we saw Mobile World Congress cancel this big convention in Spain, in Barcelona. There were some high-profile vendors and exhibitors who pulled out, Amazon, Sony, Nokia, and so they decided to shut down the whole thing. There were 100,000 attendees there last year. Could we start to see that kind of impact to the all-important convention business in Las Vegas?
You could, and when you talk about worry, that's the kind of worry that this will impact the economy throughout the remainder of the year. We've reflected a little bit of 2Q impact, but our expectation is, particularly in China, there's going to be financial stimulus that helps that market snap back relatively quickly.
Hilton and Marriott have global exposure in the lodging sector. What are they seeing, and what are you predicting?
Yeah, look, Marriott has not talked to us yet. They're going to talk within the next week or so. We've heard from Hilton and we've heard from Wyndham Hotels. They both have some exposure. The earnings exposure is very small. In Wyndham's case, we're talking about 1.5%. In Hilton's case, they indicated about 2.5%. So it's not a major earnings impact. They're much more U.S. focused, unless, of course, there is, an ongoing impact to the, the broader global economy.
And business travel. If there's an impact on business travel, yes?
That's correct. I mean, those companies, and Hilton in particular, is 70% or so business travelers. So yes, global business travel would impact their earnings on an ongoing or broader basis if that came to be true.